1950s, there were about 30,000 citizens living in Toronto Township, a municipality to the west of the City of Toronto that would eventually become the City of Mississauga. 50 years later, Mississauga had grown to Canada's sixth largest city, with a population surpassing 700,000 residents. During those early years, a young, dynamic visionary began acquiring what would become one of Canada's largest real estate assemblies. He recognized at the time that the City of Toronto's expansion would evolve westward. His extraordinary planning concepts would help shape the dynamic growth that was to become his new City of Mississauga.
And Bruce had the vision, you had to get out in the field and start something new. And when you looked at what Highway 10 and Burnethorpe Road was then, that was as good a place to start as any.
McLaughlin had already envisioned that this area would become the downtown core for the city he was planning, and it wouldn't be long before that dream was to begin taking shape. On January 1st, 1968, the Township of Toronto became the town of Mississauga. The McLaughlin land holdings quickly became identified as the new City of Mississauga. On October 28th of that year, SB McLaughlin Associates Limited became a public corporation. 1 month later, a development agreement between the company and the municipality was finalized and approved. With the construction of their first office building on the city center site well underway, the McLaughlin group of companies would enter an unprecedented decade of dramatic growth and expansion, not only in Mississauga, but beyond its borders as well. It was the 70s, and the company was moving forward at a tremendous pace. Mississauga's core was taking shape. The company's southeast quadrant, called the Mississauga Valleys, received its draft plan approval in April and subsequent registration in December. The residential building arm of the company began its site preparation for the construction of new homes in the area. By 1972, construction of the company's flagship project, the massive Square One shopping center, the largest in Canada, had begun. The successful registration of the final 277 acres in Mississauga Valleys was also completed. And United Cooperatives of Ontario finished their 9-story office building in the city center site. Cranes and graders were everywhere as Mississauga's downtown core became a flurry of construction activity. The most significant event in the company's history would take place on October 3rd of 1973. Square One recorded some 120,000 visitors on opening day, while over 6 million people walked through its malls during the first 6 months of operation. Visitors continue to come from throughout the GTA and even by tour bus from New York State. In the years since it opened its doors, Square One has continued to be the focal point of the burgeoning downtown core of the city of Mississauga. In October of 1980, Bruce McLaughlin left the company as its chief executive officer, but continued to act as a consultant. It was the end of one of the most productive eras in community building in Canada's history. The man who could look at a farmer's field and see a city was left with the knowledge that his pioneering accomplishments had changed the course of history and created the urban structure that is now the City of Mississauga.